So, Ruth, looking forward to your finals. I wonder, are any of them in the subjects you tackled here today? Because if they are, I fear you're looking at an F, if you're lucky. You know, we all realise education standards are dropping, but I don't think any of us had realised just how fast they'd fallen. Evelyn, the caretaker from Little Rock, who supports several charities. I must say, the pathetic amount of money you've managed to bank here, I hope no one puts you in charge of fundraising back in Arkansas. Jules, you're studying fashion, aren't you? What a shame you have absolutely zero ability to match answers to questions. And also, you apparently like performance art. Not seeing much quality performing from you today, are we? Ravi, who's studying to be an accountant. I think it might take some time for you to qualify. Mind you, if you ever qualify, will you get any customers? Would anyone have the courage to sign up with you? I think they'd have to be very rich and not mind at all if you lost them all their money. Oh, Rose, how are the grandchildren going to feel when they see your performance? I think you might have been spending too much time in your garden without a hat. Rose, dear, has sunstroke set in? Well, if the accuracy of your reporting matches the accuracy of your answers, Sarah, how come you're not constantly being sued for libel? I think you should invest in a good encyclopedia. So, Angela, what's the quality of local government like in Wisconsin? Are the residents lining up for a tax refund? I think you might be better off sticking to bird watching. Frank, I bet there's relief all round in Phoenix that you are actually a retired bank manager. I think one or two customers might think twice about putting their money in your hands these days. Amber, what a gem of a performance. I mean, you're named after a precious stone, but then, alas, you turn out to know precious little about anything. I see you like all things physical. Well, that's good, because you're hardly in a position to pursue an intellectual hobby. Tim, where did your genius start? Have you any talent? You know, when it comes to dispelling the myth that computer programmers are dull, you would not be the best ambassador. Perhaps you spend too much time in your bedroom having the wrong kind of fun. You should get out more. William, you know, if you're the sort of person controlling the airwaves, heaven help us, I'm amazed anything ever lands safely in Washington, D.C. I'd advise all the people who need to get there to use the train. Does Washington have an abnormally high number of mid-air collisions? I'd be surprised if it doesn't. Mary the waitress. How on earth do you manage to remember any of the orders? I mean, you can't remember general knowledge of any kind. I'm amazed you're able to count your tips. Maybe you can't, or maybe you don't get any. Barry from New York. You know, I thought Manhattan cab drivers knew everything. I mean, I wouldn't trust you to get me to Times Square or Central Park after that fiasco. Mind you, I note that you're a Knicks fan, so winning obviously isn't anything you're familiar with. It's a pretty demanding job being a CPA, is it, Alan? Oh, gosh, I hope your clients don't have too many write-offs, because you don't cope well with complications, do you? In fact, you seem very confused for someone about to go into local politics. I mean, your performance today, I doubt whether you'd get any votes. So, Jenny, the receptionist. Are you just decoration out front? Perhaps you spend too much time manicuring those beautiful nails of yours. And maybe next time you go for a makeover, they could brush up your brain power. Cindy, so you're really more of a sporting type than an intellectual. I mean, your PE students are probably going to give you a very hard time when you get back to Boston. I mean, might it be an idea to surf off on the next strong breeze and go with the wind to somewhere else? Karen, the secretary from Missouri, I do hope your shorthand speed is up to the job, because you didn't answer any questions here with much speed. I mean, do you make as many mistakes at work as you've done here? I think really you'd be better sticking to shopping your hobby full time. Remind me, Steve, never to go to Hartford, Connecticut if you're an example of the calibre of the city council there. I mean, the place must be like the Wild West. And your hobby is steam engines. Quite appropriate, really, isn't it, Steve? Because you're mostly hot air. Tell me, Eddie, do you ever actually manage to find any of the places you're supposed to be driving your truck to? I mean, have you been keeping the window down? Maybe. Your brains have flown away. You know, I fear you are mostly on a dead-end road to Nowheresville. Of course, only one of you can take the prize money away. So now you will be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions, 5 to each of you. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5 questions each, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. Of course, only one of you can take the prize money away. So now you will be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions, 5 to each of you. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5 questions each, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. So, Nick, you want to get into politics? I'd say you've got all the right qualifications, a tenuous grasp of reality, an ability to get everything wrong, and a huge opinion of yourself. Is there any beginning to your talent? Do you have any admirers other than your mother? Samantha, like exercise, do you? Work out in the gym with dumbbells, do you? Quite appropriate, that. Maybe a bit more time developing your brain power and less work on your muscle power might be helpful. So, Tony, the executive recruiter, are you sure you're qualified to advise other people on the best job for them? You might be looking for a new job yourself after that performance. So, Gary, a college graduate living in Berkeley with no job. What precisely did you graduate in? It certainly wasn't anything, it couldn't be anything connected to the questions you were attempting to answer here. Jojo, dear oh dear, who has not been paying attention? Too much skateboard shredding and hip-hop, I suspect. It's blasted your brain cells. That's presuming at some point you did have some brain cells. Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 7 people in the game could win up to $1 million. They don't know each other, however. If they want to win the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 6 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round we eliminate the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team. Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 7 people in the game could win the total prize money today. They don't know each other, however. If they want to win the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 6 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round we eliminate the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team. Join us again next time on The Weakest Link. Goodbye. The first round lasts for 2.5 minutes. The order you are playing was randomly selected before the show. We'll start with the player in the first position. Let's play the weakest link. Round 2. There are 6 players left. We are now taking 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. Let's play the weakest link. Round 3, you are down to 5 players. We're taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. Let's play the weakest link. Round 4. There are 4 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. You now have only 2 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. Let's play the weakest link. Round 5. 3 of you left. We are cutting another 10 seconds from your time. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. Let's play the weakest link. Round 6. And just the 2 of you left, and this time you have only 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be tripled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. Let's play the weakest link. Round 6. And just the 2 of you left, and this time you have only 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be tripled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. Let's play the weakest link.
This is not a game for slackers. There are no gimmies, no do-overs, no lifelines, no hints. You play as a team, but be ready to betray everyone to be rich. The weak of will, the unsteady, the ones who make excuses, all will leave with nothing. And if you fail, I will tell the whole world you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Someone is stopping you from scaling the summits. Who's the one still stuck at base camp? Who do you want to push off the edge? Who is the hole in your pocket? Who is the luxury you cannot afford? Sling the slow coach, dump the dunce. Someone here needs to brush up their performance. Who keeps cleaning you out? Who needs to be swept off the game? Which player has passed their sell-by date? Who's been sitting on the shelf for too long? Is there someone here who needs to head for the checkout? Who's slower at delivering than the post office? Who needs to be redirected? Here's your chance to have the return to sender. Who can't cope with the pressure? Who's making your blood boil? Who is a very sad waste of time? Who doesn't convince you? Who's trying to pull the wool over your eyes? Who's all mouth and no answers? Who's the disaster area? Who needs to be cordoned off? I urge you, call in the emergency services and have them extinguished. Which one of you is the big bad wolf? Whose mind, sadly, is emptier than Mother Hubbard's cupboard? Who's trying to turn your coach into a pumpkin? Who's causing a problem? Whose replies are a bit of a puzzle? Whose donut has run out of jam? Someone here is stopping you from steering a straight course. Who keeps taking the wind out of your sails? Who urgently needs to be cast adrift? I fear someone here is just passing through. Who has outstayed their welcome? Who do you want to see check out? Who is least likely to improve that final bank balance? Who is no longer useful? Have the courage to vote off the weakest link. Who is barring you from building up the bank? Who is upsetting the balance? Who are you going to ask to withdraw? Why aren't you making more money? Who is damaging your deposits? Who needs to be told to cash in their chips? Who here isn't blossoming? Let me remind you, you cannot afford dead wood. Which one of the team needs to be pruned? Someone here clearly is not in the swim of things. Who's out of their depth? Who's not waving but drowning? Who's weighing you down? Who do you feel you're carrying? Who would it be a great relief to drop? Someone here is always losing the points. Who's having trouble keeping up? Who needs to be returned to the library shelf?
Who can't do their job? Who seems to be out to lunch? I urge you, give them their pink slip, send them packing.
Who's the clown ruining your chances? Who do you want to send through the trap door? Who's all ambition and very, very little talent? Who's no longer a contender? Deal them a knockout blow and send them out for the count. Whose pathetic performance is too pitiful to prolong. Who's reached the end of the road? Who keeps directing you to a dead end? Who needs to get out and walk? Whose tank has run out of petrol? Whose gears are stuck in reverse? Whose skills are sadly non-existent? I urge you, if you want to be winners, get rid of the losers. Who's bringing up the rear? Now is your chance to lap them.
So you've won the championship, have you, despite getting nowhere near the $50 million prize money? Feeling rather good about yourself after all that time and effort? Perhaps you should get out more. Goodbye. All right, so you're the ultimate strongest link, but please take a look at the competition. Anyone could have beaten that lot. If we had any half-decent players, you wouldn't have got anywhere near the 50 million. Oh, but of course you didn't, did you? Goodbye. Is there a village that's missing its idiot? Who is the midget among intellectual giants? Whose brain has already gone home?
Which player can't keep up? Who's bringing up the rear badly? Who's nowhere near the finishing line?
Who's a margarita short of a party? Who's not the freshest onion in the soup? Who's several shrimp short of a Barbie? Who's dead weight? Who would it make you happy to wave ta-ta to? Cheer yourself up and chuck 'em.
Someone's performance needs polishing up. Who needs to get the boot? Who are you going to kick out?